Surely when it comes to these misinformation laws, you'll be greatly worried, along with Elon Musk, about what this government's trying to do.
Yeah, Chris, look, I think they're terrible, terrible proposals. I mean, we had an exposure draft 6 or 9 months ago, which the minister released. It was widely canned. I think it was some of the worst legislation I've seen, and 24,000 submissions that went to the minister's office would suggest that that was the case. An overwhelming response from Australians of all makes and models. It went back to the drawing board, and the new version has been spat out. And I've got to say, it's not much better. In fact, it may even be worse in some respects. What it will seek to do is codify what is misinformation, what is disinformation, 2 words that barely existed 5 years ago. And it creates categories effectively now. It's reasonably verifiable content online that is misleading and deceptive and causes serious harm. The categories of serious harm are as alarming as anything. This deals with things which would affect public health in this country, and we've just been through all of that. And,
absolutely.
You and I have spoken many times about the Department of Home Affairs trying to get Australians' posts censored when many of them were true. And in fact, that story that you just referred to with the ABC, classic sort of misinformation, but they would be exempt because these laws don't apply to the mainstream media, print, radio, newspaper. This is an attack on independent content creation and an attack on free speech.
We can see where the government's going to go with this argument. They'll try and conflate their 2 issues so they get the public on side against the digital giants. And I, for one, I'm quite comfortable with the onus being on the digital giants to have a proper way of verifying someone's age before they sign up. Let's force them to do that. But they shouldn't be forced to implement this sort of censorship because, as you say, we saw the censorship of truthful information during COVID. Under a Labor government or a Greens government or any stripe in the future, you'll have them censoring proper debates about climate change and climate action and energy debates because they're forever trying to portray the arguments against them as misinformation.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right, and we will see that. And in fact, some of the examples that have been used in the government's own explanatory documentation are absurd. They use the example of misinformation in the space of health. They use the example of people sharing information that Donald Trump said about injecting bleach to cure COVID, a claim which has been debunked multiple times, including by Snopes, which is a fair indication of where that one's up to. And only this government could use misinformation as a way of, against prosecuting claims for misinformation. I don't think this is the problem that the government know what they're trying to solve here. This is ultimately about control. It's about profits for the mainstream media and control over the narrative for the government and the establishment.